Today we're going to focus on the throat chakra, the fifth chakra. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about the throat chakra. I actually just want us to feel it. So, as you feel ready, go ahead and come to lying on your back. Have a strap and a block nearby if you have one. Your legs could be straight if that works better for you, or feel free to do what I'm doing, which is bending my knees and letting my knees fall in towards each other. You can also keep your knees pointing towards the sky. Whatever feels comfortable for you. One hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. Soften or close your eyes and feel the breath flowing through you. The air on the nostrils, down your windpipe, and into your lungs. And just feel the lungs moving with the flow of the breath, the air. The lungs expanding out with your inhales and softening back in with your exhales. As you feel ready, you can lengthen and deepen the breath, balancing out your inhales and the exhales. With your exhales, feel the earth underneath you. And with your exhales, feel supported by the earth underneath you. Let yourself feel held. Maybe paying a little bit more attention today to the back of the head and the shoulders. Breathe. As you continue to settle into the flow of the breath, and feel supported by the earth underneath you, particularly on your exhales. On your inhales, feel expansiveness from inside out. So as the lungs inflate, feel the torso expanding, feel the spine lifting or lengthening out of the hips. In this case, lengthening since we're on the floor. Feel space in between the vertebrae. And as you exhale, feel that earth underneath you. But keep some of the fullness that you cultivate on your inhale, some of that brightness, and let your skin settle back onto that internal sense of fullness, that internal sense of support. Let your awareness rest in the breath. Throughout class, I invite you to maintain your connection to the breath. If at any point your thoughts start to drift or to wander, at that moment, bring your attention, your awareness back to the breath. I also invite you to be deeply connected to yourself. So give yourself some time here just to notice how you feel. Physically, mentally, emotionally, honoring whatever that is, and let that guide, let that inform your practice. Feel free to adjust the postures, to do different variations, to insert different poses as you feel inclined to. Even if what I say sounds like a command, it's not. Even if I say a lot of words, it's just shorthand. Feel free to adjust the postures, to do different variations, to insert different poses as you feel inclined to. I ask of you is to try to stay connected to the flow of the breath and to move a bit with this connection. So breathe and continue to feel that breath flowing through you. And continue to feel your body being moved by the breath, by the air. As you feel ready, you can gently open your eyes here if they're shut. Bring your arms perhaps into an airplane position, although feel free, again, to have the arms wherever is comfortable. Feet about mat distance width apart, so a little bit of space in between your feet. Feet a comfortable distance away from your hips. And then as you're ready, if it works for you, exhale the knees over to the right side. Inhale up to center, and exhale the knees to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale the knees to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale the knees to the left. Inhale to center, exhale to the right. Inhale to center, exhale to the left. So go ahead, keep on going from side to side with the flow of the breath. And notice your legs and your hips are moving, but keeping your shoulders and the back of the head relatively still here, relatively heavy. Breathe. Okay, the next time your knees end up over on the right side, go ahead and hold. If you want to take your right foot on top of the left thigh, use the weight of the right leg to pull the left leg closer to the ground, you can. If you want to stretch the left arm back for the wall behind you, you can. Breathing here, nice full deep breaths wherever you're at. And then as you feel ready, you can lower the left arm down, you can uncross the right leg, lift the knees up to the sky, and exhale knees over to the left side. And again, feel free to stay here. You can stretch the right arm back behind you. I often like to take my hand to my rib cage. You can take the left leg on top of the right leg. My hand on the rib cage is just to remind me to soften my rib cage. Let the rib cage move down towards the ground. Breathe. Switching to watch so I can keep track of time. And then as you're ready, go ahead and unwind, flipping the knees up towards the sky here. Feet a comfortable distance width apart, feet a comfortable distance away from your hips. Feel the shoulders and the back of the head nice and heavy here. And maybe gently move your head around just a little bit on the ground. And come into a place where the chin feels neutral. Now you're not lifting the chin up really high, you're not dropping it down really low. But things feel pretty balanced and settled. Then bring your arms into an airplane position from here. Feel the shoulders nice and heavy. And exhale, maybe let your head go to the right. Inhale up to center. And maybe your head to the left. So go ahead and lay the head inhale to center, go side to side. You might notice as you turn your head here, that your chin also moves closer to your shoulder, your head rotates along its axis, as well as just going from side to side. That's normal. Notice how that goes. Notice if one side rotates more differently than the other, if you can figure that out. Breathe. And then the next time your head is over to the right, you can hold the head on the right side. Feel the left shoulder with every exhale relaxing more into the earth as you breathe here. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then as you're ready, inhale back to center. And exhale the head over to the right. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Or left. We went to the right first. Now we're going to the left. Breathe. Inhale back to center. Feel the back of your head nice and heavy on the ground. Again, maybe letting it move around just a bit here. Really feeling that place where things feel nice and centered. And then from here, if you like, you can cross the right ankle over the left knee. Bring your hands to the thighs, gently press the thighs away from you here, and maybe swaying the hips a little side to side. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. Okay. As you feel ready, unwinding into center with your hips. Feel the hips balance between the right and left side. As you press the thighs away from you, notice your shoulders might come away from the ground a little bit. The shoulders might be a little bit off the back. That's fine. Just observe that that's what's going on. Then as you're ready, go ahead and release this side and cross the right leg and cross the left ankle over the right knee, stretching through the inner edge of the ankle. Hands to your thighs here. Press the thighs away from you, maybe gently swaying the hips a little side to side here. Feel that breath flowing through you. And then as you're ready, coming back into center from here. Hips nice and balanced. And again, as you press the thighs away from you, notice your shoulders might be lifting a little bit away from the ground. Notice that. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. Okay. And then exhale, go ahead and release. Grab the strap that hopefully you have someplace nearby. And take the strap between your hands with the palms facing out, the palms facing towards your feet. I always say have the buckle, the belt near your hand so you don't accidentally hit yourself in your face, just because I've done that one too many times. And then with your hands about shoulder distance width apart, palms facing away from you, pull the strap apart with your hands, causing the strap to be nice and tight here. Feet a comfortable distance width apart, feet a comfortable distance away from your hips, breathing here. And then with your next exhale, press the shoulders into the ground, pull the shoulder blades on the back. Inhale, lift the shoulders away from the ground, pull the shoulder blades off the back. Exhale, press the shoulder blades into the ground, pull the shoulder blades on the back. Inhale, lift the shoulders away from the ground, pull the shoulder blades off the back. Exhale, press the shoulder blades into the ground, pull the shoulder blades on the back. Again, head nice and neutral, chin neutral each, and pressing down to the back of the head if that works for you. If not, lift your chin up a little bit here if that feels better for you. Keeping the shoulders nice and grounded here, pulling the strap apart with your hands. With your next inhale, stretch the strap up overhead back to the wall behind you. If you need to give yourself a little bit more strap, a little bit more room, you can move the hands a bit wider apart. And then exhale, stretch the strap back up for the ceiling. Inhale, stretch the strap up overhead back for the wall behind you. Exhale, stretch the strap back for the ceiling. stretch the strap of overhead back for the wall behind you. Exhale, stretch the strap past the ceiling a little bit towards your feet here. And then here, with your next exhale, tuck your hips under a little bit here. Notice what that feels like. Inhale and tilt the hips back, shifting the weight down towards your tailbone, letting the top of the hips lift up. Exhale, tuck your hips under, top of the hips press down, tailbone lifts up just a little bit. Inhale and tilt the hips back, shifting the weight down to the tailbone, top of the hips lift up a little bit. Exhale, tuck your hips under. With your hips a little bit tucked, lift your feet up off the ground. And with this strap, take the strap around to your shins. And then using the strap, pull your shins in towards you, the legs in towards you, and gently rock. You could be in a bit of a ball here. So again, your hips can be tucked under a little bit. The shoulders can be a bit off the back. Breathe. Okay, come back into center from here. In center here, I want you to press down through the shoulders. So start to root the shoulders and the back of the head down. And then I want you to press the legs out into the strap, shifting the weight lower in your hips as you do so. So taking that rounded or tucked under back position away and shifting the weight lower in the hips. I don't want you to come into a strong arch in the back, but a little bit of an arch. So maybe the weight's not all the way into your tailbone, but maybe the weight's somewhere between your tailbone and the top of the hips and back, and the top of the hips is lifting up a little bit as you try to root down through the shoulders and try to press down through the back of the head. Breathing here, just noticing what this feels like in your body. You might even give yourself more strap and lower the feet all the way to the ground here. I a lot of times like to come down to my tippy toes here and pull my feet in with the strap while keeping the natural curves of the spine, pressing down through the shoulders and the back of the head. And then open my feet maybe wider apart than my hips and let my knees fall in. Doing a Supta Virasana variation, using the strap to see how closely I can pull my feet in towards my hips. In other words, seeing how deeply my knees bend. If my knees were less bendy, the feet might be further away, and that's fine. But, if your knees will bend more, you might have the feet closer in. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths wherever you're at. And then as you're ready, go ahead and slide the feet out if they're not already. Take the strap off the shin. And then from here, take the strap and loop the strap around the ball of your right foot, extending the right leg towards the sky, straightening the right leg here. Okay, if you pull the right leg in right away, your hips will typically tuck under. So I want you to kick the right foot out away from you a little bit, giving yourself enough room to untuck the hips. Again, have the weight a little bit lower in the hips, but not all the way down towards your tailbone, just a little bit of a baby arch here in the back. And also give yourself enough strap that you can root down through the shoulders. So your shoulders are on the ground, back of the head pressing down here. And then from here, maybe start to pull the leg in towards you more, but not so much the hips start to tuck under, and keeping those shoulders nice and rooted on the ground as you come into a hamstring stretch. Breathe, nice full deep breaths. So right now we're approaching the throat by the areas above and below the throat. We're really focusing on the shoulders and the back of the head and those spaces to get our throat lined up. Nice full deep breaths wherever you're at. And then as you're ready, you can bend the right knee, set the right foot on the ground, and take the strap and loop the strap around the sole of the left foot, straightening that left leg towards the sky. But again, not pulling the leg in towards you right away, letting the foot move away from you a bit so you can come into natural curves of the spine with your hips. What I mean by that is, again, not the hips tuck under, not a strong arch, but weight a little bit lower than the top of the hips lifting up a bit here. And in this place, you can also give yourself enough strap to root the shoulders into the ground. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then if you want to, you can try to pull the foot in towards you more, stretching the hamstrings out a little bit more, but trying not to let your hips tuck under and making sure you have enough strap to press down through the shoulders and the back of the head. And again, if you want to, you can move your head around just a little bit here and see what different places feel like. And try to come into a place that feels nice and centered, that you feel like rooting down the back of the head. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. Okay, as you're ready, go ahead and bend the left knee, lower the left foot to the ground. Put the strap over to the side for a moment here. And bring the arms straight along the sides, palms facing down, fingers pointing towards the toes here. If it works for you, straighten the legs along the ground, knees and toes pointing up to the sky, pressing down through both legs here. If that does not work for you, feel free to keep the knees bent. breathing wherever you're at. Nice full deep breaths. And then from here, again, I want you to make sure your head feels nice and centered. And then inhale, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. And exhale, start to wiggle the shoulders underneath you a bit here. Pressing down through the shoulders and the back of the head. With your next inhale, start to lift the spine in between the shoulders up. And start to shift the weight lower in your hips. Coming into a big arch of your back here with your hips on the ground. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then notice the spine in between your shoulders again. And with your next exhale, start to relax the spine in between the shoulders, letting the shoulders move apart from each other a little bit here. As the spine relaxes down, start to stretch your tailbone a little bit toward your feet, not tucking your hips under, but again, just shifting the weight a little bit higher than the hips in the very bottom and coming into this in-between spot where there's a small arch of your back and your hips, but not a big one. The weight's somewhere in the center of your hips more. Breathing here. Notice what this feels like. And then as you feel ready, you can hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball. Let the hips tuck under. Let the shoulders come off the back. Gently rocking a bit from side to side here. Coming back into center from here. With your knees bent, lower the feet to the ground. Go ahead and grab the strap. Loop the strap around the ball of your right foot. You can just loop it this way. I don't know why I was doing that. Loop the strap around the ball of your right foot. Starting the same way, again, giving yourself enough room, so letting the foot kick out, that you could come to natural curves of the spine, that you could anchor down through the shoulders and the back of the head. And then from here, this time, if it works for you, perhaps straightening the left leg along the ground, left knee and toe pointing towards the sky, pressing down to that leg. And again, if you would like to, once you do that, staying with that nice full deep breath, you might pull the right leg in towards you more, but making sure you have enough strap that your hips are not tucking under and that you can anchor or root the shoulders into the ground. Breathing here. Nice full deep breath. Now at this point, the spine in between your shoulders might also be relaxing down, so it's not that extreme position where you're starting to lift the spine in between the shoulders up, and that can relax down too. Grabbing maybe both ends of the strap with your right hand, looping the strap around your right hand here, and bringing your left hand either to your hip or opening to the left. So I'm going to show you with your left knee bent first what you would do. If your left knee is bent, and that's fine to keep it bent here, as you let the right leg go slowly to the right, you would let the left knee also go slowly to the left, and try to keep the weight centered through your hip and through your torso. Okay. If your left leg is straight here, again, you slowly let the right leg go to the right, but you would just try to engage the muscles around your core in such a way that the weight does not shift over to the right side of your torso. The left hip and the left shoulder stays as heavy as the right. Breathing in whatever version of the pose you're doing, nice, full, deep breaths. And if you want to from here, you can let your head turn towards the left and look over that left shoulder. Breathe. Okay. As you're ready, go ahead and bring the right leg back to center. Your head can come back to center too if you twisted it, your neck. And then go ahead and maybe grab both ends of the strap with your left hand. Again, giving yourself enough strap that you can press or root the shoulder down. Right arm can open to the right. Your left knee can be bent here. That is fine. Now keep your chest nice and centered and facing towards the sky. Maybe take your right leg across the left leg a little bit here, crossing the midline of the body. If you want to, you can let the right hip lift up and come into a twist. And again, your left knee might be bent here, or if you prefer, the left leg can be straight. Breathing wherever you're at, trying to keep initially the head centered and the shoulders centered here. If you want to turn your head and look over the right shoulder, you can. But since we're focusing so much on neck today, it might be an interesting challenge to really keep the chest and your head centered and looking towards the sky instead. Breathe. Nice full deep breaths. Okay. As you feel ready, go ahead and come back up to center here. Your hips sometimes travel when you twist, so you might need to adjust where your hips are. Coming back into center, you can grab both ends of the strap with your hands and pull that right leg in towards you in center. Breathe. A nice full deep breath. And then kicking your right foot out into the strap. Slowly let the right leg start to lower towards the ground. If the strap makes you stop at any point, you can stop. If the strap lets you bring the right foot all the way to the ground, you can do that. Whether your foot's hovering a bit or all the way down, press the right ball of your foot out into the strap, lengthening to that side a bit. Breathe, nice full deep breaths. And then as you're ready, you can release. You can bend both knees, take the strap off the right foot, bring the feet to the ground, release your hands, hands to the thighs, or release the strap from your hands. Hands to the thighs, press the thighs away from you here, gently swaying the hips a little side to side. Nice full deep breaths wherever you're at. Okay, unwinding into center from here. Take the strap, loop the strap around the ball of the left foot, straightening the left leg, but giving yourself the room to untuck your hips, to have the weight a little bit lower in your the weight in your hips a little bit lower than the top of the hips, but not all the way at the bottom of the hips either. Have enough strap to press the shoulders down. Maybe also, if you want to, straighten the right leg this time. Right knee and toe pointing towards the sky if the leg is straight. And then if you want to pull the left leg in towards you a bit more, you can. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths wherever you're at. Okay. Taking both ends of the strap in the left hand, looping the strap. And again, feel free to have the knee bent, but remember if your knee's bent, you'll have to move, or you might need to move the right knee to the right as the left leg goes to the right, left. Slowly with control, slowly let the left leg go to the left, keeping your torso nice and centered. So if you notice the weight starts to shift into the left hip or to the left side of the torso, trying to keep as much weight in the right side as in the left. So resisting that tendency because your left leg is heavy for the weight to shift with your leg. Breathe, nice full deep breath. The right arm can be on the right hip somewhere or it can open to the right. And if you want to from here, you could turn your head and look over the right shoulder. Breathe. Nice full deep breaths wherever you're at. Okay. As you're ready, coming back up with that left leg, bringing your head back into center if you moved it. Take both ends of the strap into your right hand, looping the strap, making sure you have enough strap to anchor the shoulders down. Left arm can be open to the left, and again, right knee can be bent here or straight. Taking the left leg maybe across the midline of your body if that feels okay for you. Pause and keep your chest and your head nice and centered here. And then maybe start to let the left hip lift up as your hips turn to the right, but the chest and the head stays nice and centered. Breathing wherever you're at. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. As you feel ready, you can unwind back into center. You can center your hips. You can straighten the right leg or keep it bent. You can pull that left leg in towards you a bit, pressing down through the shoulders and the back of the head. Breathe. And then kicking the left foot out into the strap, slowly with control. Lowering the left leg as close to the ground as works for you. If the strap stops you before the foot's all the way down, feel free to stay there and just press the ball of the foot out into the strap. If the foot comes all the way down, you can press the foot out to the ball of the foot out into the strap once the foot's all the way down. Breathe, nice full deep breaths. Okay, go ahead and release. Putting the strap over to the side, hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking. And then come back into center here with your knees bent, lower the feet to the ground, feet a comfortable distance width apart, feet a comfortable distance away from your hips, arms into an airplane position or wherever is comfortable for you. Feel the shoulders in the back of the head nice and heavy here. Feel the spine in between the shoulders relaxing down. And if you want to, again, exhale the head to the right side. Inhale the center. Exhale your head to the left. Inhale the center. Exhale to the right. Inhale the center. Exhale to the left. Inhale the center. Exhale to the right. Inhale the center. Exhale to the left. Inhale up to center. Go ahead, make sure the block that I had to grab is someplace nearby that you could easily grab it. And then from here, bring your arms to your sides, palms face down, fingers pointing towards your toes again. This time keeping your knees bent. You might open your feet a little bit wider apart. You might walk your feet a little closer into your hips. Inhale, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, wiggle the shoulders underneath you. And then again, maybe start to feel the spine in between the shoulders lifting up here as you press down through the shoulders in the back of the head. If you need to lift your chin up a little bit here, you can. But if your chin stays in neutral, you can keep your chin in neutral as well. You probably don't want to tuck the chin too much though. Okay, pressing down through the shoulders in the back of the head. Also grounding down through your feet. If you want to, with your next inhale, stretch your knees forward and let the hips float up a little bit. Exhale and lower back down the hips. Inhale, stretch your knees forward, let the hips float up. Exhale and lower the hips back down. Inhale, stretch your knees forward, float your hips up. Exhale, lower the hips back down. Release the spine in between the shoulders. Go ahead, grab your block in one hand. And then maybe with your elbows bent, again, shoulders on the back, wiggle the shoulders underneath you and lift the spine in between the shoulders up again. Press down through your feet. Inhale, stretch your knees forward, float the hips up. Block at the lowest height, slide it underneath your hips here. And the block could be up high on the hips or it could be closer to your tailbone. You can move it around and see what works for you. If a block going across the middle of your spine does not feel good for you, sometimes having two blocks and sliding a block under each butt cheek is a good modification or variation here. Once you're comfortable on the block, you can bring the arms back to an airplane position. The shoulders are still a little bit wiggled underneath you here. The spine in between the shoulders are still lifting up a bit here, and you're still rooting down through the shoulders in the back of the head some. It's a supported bridge, so you're maybe not working as much as you would without the block, but you are working some. You also might figure out a better place for your feet. I'm going to actually come off the block and move myself higher up on the mat and come back into this position. So give me some time to do that. But you guys, again, figure out what works for you as far as placement. Breathe. Nice full deep breaths. Okay. I feel better. Okay. And as you're hanging out here, make sure your hands are wide enough apart or far enough away from your feet here that you do feel like you have some control over the movement of the shoulders, that everything doesn't feel like it's squeezing in for dear life. Okay. And continue to root down through the shoulders of the back of the head. Again, you're not pressing down for dear life or anything, but you're just noticing that connection. And what you might notice here, as you press down through the shoulders and the back of the head, and it's something we were doing before when we were flat on the ground too, is that if your chin's not tucked under, your neck has a little bit of an arch in it. So just kind of feel that sensation of the neck pulling away from the ground a little bit as the shoulders and the back of the head are pressing down. If you lift the chin up, that arch actually gets bigger, which can be too much for some people, but for other people feels really good. It's shortening or contracting the back of the neck a little bit. And some people do that all the time, which maybe is something to move away from. And some people don't do that really at all. So you can play around with maybe lifting the chin up a little bit past neutral, and then maybe letting the chin come to a more neutral position. And again, lifting the chin up and not dropping it down, but just bringing it to neutral, or not dropping it down past neutral, and see how placement feels for you here. Okay, once you have a place you really like, if you want to, just slide the left leg straighter, left foot along the ground, straightening the left leg, only as much as feels good for your low back. You can keep the left toes pointed if you'd like, but there might come a place where even with your left toes pointed, the left toes are no longer on the ground. Breathing here, nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then as you're ready, go ahead and slide that left foot back in. And maybe sliding the right foot forward, right knees pointing towards the sky, right toes maybe staying pointed, but there might be a point where even with your right foot pointed, the toes are no longer pressing into the ground. Breathing here, nice full deep breath, supported bridge variations. And then go ahead and slide that foot back in. And maybe start to wiggle both feet forward. Now again, notice if at any point there's a pull in the low back, and if so, feel free to stop someplace along the way. So maybe you stop someplace like here, breathe. But if it works for you to straighten the legs all the way, you can straighten the legs all the way. Nice, full, deep breath, pressing down through the shoulders and the back of the head. And again, only if it felt okay for your neck. Maybe lift your chin up a little bit more. Maybe let the chin come to neutral, but not tucking the chin so much. And moving very carefully here, most likely doing really small, subtle movement because you're weighted in your neck. And so you have to be really careful. Necks are delicate. Breathe. Okay, coming to a place that feels really good for you with your head and neck. And then as you're ready, maybe sliding the feet back in, maybe sliding the block out from underneath your hips, lowering the hips back down, and maybe starting to let the spine in between the shoulders relax down here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breath. Okay, feet a comfortable distance away from your hips, feet mat distance width apart. Just a few rounds of windshield wipers, moving the lower body but keeping the chest and the upper body relatively still. You bring the arms back to airplane position, so exhale, knees over to the right, just like near the beginning of class. Inhale up to center. Exhale, the knees to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right, inhale to center, exhale to the left, inhale to center. Once you're back in the center here, bring the feet in a comfortable distance width apart, maybe crossing the right ankle over the left knee. Gently press those thighs away. Feel free to stay here. You can wiggle the hips a little bit like the first time if you like. Or if you want to keep that action of the thighs pressing away, maybe lifting the left foot up off the ground. Your hips might tuck under a little bit here. That's fine. You just want to keep them on the ground for the most part. Maybe the right hand comes in between the hole in the leg and grabs the outer left leg. Maybe or the left leg behind you. Maybe the left hand comes around the outer left leg and you pull the left leg in towards you. And again, you want to try to keep your hips on the ground. Maybe even in this position, see if you can ground down through the shoulders and the back of the head. If you can't, you can intentionally engage your core and lift the head and shoulders up instead. But if you're lifting up, lift up from the core instead of letting the shoulder and neck muscles pull you up. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths wherever you're at. And then if you are holding on to the left leg, go ahead and release. Lower that foot down. Uncross the right leg and cross the left ankle over the right knee here. And again, you can bring your hands to the thighs, gently press them away, move a little side to side here, breathe. And then come back into center from here. And then center from here if you want to lift the right foot up. Again, hips might tuck under a little bit, but try to keep them on the ground. And even keeping the hips on the ground is maybe you take the left hand between the hole in the legs and grab the belly of the right thigh or somewhere on the right leg, maybe the right hand. Maybe when you did that, your shoulders lifted up so you could grab the leg. Perhaps you try to move the shoulders back into the ground, the shoulder blades back into the ground, pulling that right leg in towards you a little bit more, even as you press the thighs away from you, breathe. And again, if that is not accessible for you, if you cannot do that, that's also fine. You might though instead engage the core and lift the head and shoulders up, moving from the core. Breathing wherever you're at. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then as you feel ready, let go of the right leg, uncross the left leg, hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking. And then as you feel ready, rolling all the way over onto your side and transitioning up to sitting here. Bringing the legs straight forward out in front of you, knees and toes pointing up to the sky, hands back behind you. Press down to the legs, untuck your hips, lift up to the low back, open to the chest, open through that throat. Breathing here, nice full deep breaths. And then as you're ready, inhale, lengthen the spine here, and walk your hands forward. And with a nice long spine, sitting up nice and tall, untucking your hips. If you need to bend your knees a little bit here so you can untuck your hips and sit up nice and tall. Feel free to be up on fingertips or feel free to bring your hands even to your thighs here. Just so you're sitting up nice and tall comfortably here. And feel the shoulders moving a bit on the back. So keep the chest lifted. Keep your shoulders in the chest nice and still here. And if it works for you, exhale and let the chin drop down to the chest. And then inhale and lift the chin up here. Exhale and letting the chin drop down, only as much in either direction as feels good for your neck. Inhale and lifting your chin up. Exhale and dropping the chin down. Inhale and come to neutral or slightly lifted chin. From here, if it works for you, shift your weight into your left hip, hands can come over to the side, bend your knees and take your feet over to the right. If this position does not work for you, any position you can sit up nice and tall. Inhale, lengthen to the spine here, and then exhale, turning to the left, maybe turning your head and looking over the left shoulder. Breathe, nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then as you feel ready, inhale and wind back to center. Take both feet over to your left side. Inhale, sit up nice and tall, lifting the spine. Exhale and turning to the right. Breathing here. Nice full deep breath. You can let the head turn and look over that right shoulder if you'd like. And then as you feel ready, inhale and winding and transitioning to all fours, your hands and knees, however works for you. Feel free to pause and get something to slide underneath your knees as padding, a pillow, or a rolled up, folded up blanket. Hands far enough away from the knees so you can lengthen the spine fully. Hands about outer shoulder distance apart to middle of the wrist. You do not have to do palms flat. If another hand position feels better for you, you can play around with other hand positions. But if your palms are flat, maybe spreading the fingers a bit apart from each other, maybe lines of the wrist parallel with the front edge of the mat, and maybe shifting the weight towards your fingers out of your wrist a little bit. With your next inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale and round the back and look at your navel. Inhale and arch the back, head and tailbone up toward the sky. And moving back and forth to the flow of the breath. Connecting this movement to the rhythm of the breath and noticing how you feel as you move. How your back feels, how your shoulders feel, how your neck feels, how your wrists feel, how your knees feel. But also notice what you're doing, rounding and arching the back. Shoulders moving on and off the back, head and hips tilting under and up, inner thigh muscles moving forward and back as you breathe. With your next inhale, come to a nice extended spine here. Exhale for the shoulders moving a little bit toward each other on the back, the lower ribs tucking in towards the spine, but not so much the hips tucked under. And then maybe start to do small circles on the ground with your torso, noticing how mobile your wrists and knees feel. And if they feel pretty good, you can ease your way into larger circles. And then changing the direction of the circles if you're circling. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. So as you feel ready, you can ease your way back into a child's pose. Feet together, knees a little bit apart, hips towards your feet, head towards the ground. Your spine can either stay extended or you can let the back gently round, maybe tucking your hips under a little bit here. Nice, full, deep breaths wherever you're at. And then as you feel ready, ease your way forward onto your belly. Making a pillow for the head with your hands. Gently rock your hips a bit from side to side here. And then eventually making your way into center with your hips. Feel balance between the right and the left side of the hips. Spin the kneecaps to face the ground with your feet on the ground. Actively stretch back to the legs and your feet. Press your forehead onto the back of your hands. Feel the head and the hands on the ground. Inhale and lift up to your elbows here if you want to. Breathing here, nice full deep breaths. Exhale, lower the elbows back down. Flip which hands on top. Press your forehead onto your new hand. Press down to the hips, stretch long to the legs, knees facing the ground, feet on the ground. And keeping your head and the hands on the ground. Inhale, maybe lift up to your elbows here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Exhale, lower the elbows back down. Inhale, lift your gaze a little bit. Bring the arms straight along the sides if that works for you. Fingers pointing towards the toes. Press down to the hips, stretch long to the legs, knees facing the ground. Inhale, maybe lift up through the shoulders and the chest a little bit here. Exhale and lowering back down. Inhale and lifting up. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale and lift up. Hold the lift through the shoulders and the chest. Maybe flip your hands to face forward. Act like you're drawing your hands back for the chest lengthening forward. And then keep your shoulders where they are, but notice the upper back right between the shoulders. And with every exhale, just see if you can soften that upper back a little bit. See if you can release that upper back a little bit. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then as you're ready, exhale, lower all the way down. Rest your head on the hands. Relax to the legs. Gently rock your hips a bit from side to side. Coming back into center with your hips from here and easing your way back into a child's pose. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Okay, inhale up to all fours. We're gonna grab the block and we're gonna take the block the long way between our shoulders here. So we're gonna try to balance the block between our shoulder blades here. Okay. Okay, and then once you have that, lengthen the spine, and then again, feel the shoulders a little bit on the back to support the block, feel the core engaging, and then try not to move the shoulders a whole lot. Exhale and tuck your hips under. Inhale and tilt the hips up towards the sky. Exhale and tuck your hips under. Inhale and tilt the hips up towards the sky. Exhale and tuck your hips under. Inhale and tilt the hips up towards the sky. Okay, come to neutral with the hips. Now take that block and try to balance it at the top of your hips here. Okay. Now try to hold the hips relatively still. Inhale and try to lift your head and chest up, softening right between the shoulder blades. And then exhale, trying to round the upper back. Keeping the movement in your hips minimal. It'll move a little bit. Inhale, letting the chest lift up, looking up through the head and neck. Exhale, laying the chest round, looking down. Inhale, and the chest lifts up, head looks up, shoulders on the back. Exhale, looking down, letting the shoulders come off the back, but keeping your hips relatively still. Okay, come to neutral here. Shoulders a little bit on the back, head and neck in line with the rest of the spine. Try not to move your hips here. With your left knee bent, slide that left knee back, and then inhale, lift the left knee up. And try not to round the back, but exhale, just moving the left knee in towards your belly. Inhale and lift the left knee up. Exhale, move the left knee in towards your belly. Inhale, the left knee goes back. And then exhale, circle the left knee over to the left side and up towards your belly. And then inhale, the left knee back. Exhale, circle the left knee out, around, and towards your belly. Inhale, the left knee back. Exhale, left knee circles out, around, and towards your belly. Then set the left knee down, and we'll do the second side. So again, try not to move your torso really that much at all. Maybe grabbing at the floor with your finger pads underneath your fingernails, maybe shifting the weight towards your fingers, out of your wrists a little bit. Then sliding that right knee back with the knee bent, lifting the knee up with your inhale, and then exhale without rounding the back, moving your right knee in towards the chest. Inhale and lifting that knee up. Exhale, knee in towards the chest. Inhale, lift the knee up. And then exhale, circle the right knee out, around, and towards your chest. Inhale, right knee up, back behind you. Exhale, right knee out, around, and towards the chest. Inhale, right knee back behind you. Exhale, right knee out, around, and towards the chest. Lower the right knee to the ground. Okay, the block. Take it back between your shoulders if that works for you. And then walking the knees back behind your hips a little bit here. Try to line head and neck in line with the rest of the spine. Nice long spine. And then slowly with control, bending the elbows, taking multiple breaths if it works for you. And make your way all the way down to your belly. Once you're down, you can take the block, you might have to move it to the side, off your back, and put the block over to the side. Rest your head on the hands, gently rock your hips a bit from side to side here. Okay. Come back into center from here, press down through the hip stretch, long through the legs, knees straight to the ground, feet on the ground, arms straight along the sides, fingers pointing towards the toes. Inhale, lifting up through the shoulders and the chest. If flipping your hands forward feels more supportive, you can do that, or you can keep the hands where they are. Knees and toes facing the ground, maybe lifting up through the feet here. Maybe your legs hug in, maybe not. Maybe you lift up through the hands here. Breathe. Another variation of Shalabhasana. Nice, full, deep breaths wherever you're at. And then exhale, lower all the way down. Rest your head on the hands and gently rock your hips a bit from side to side. Come back into center from here and ease your way back into a child's pose. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Inhale up to all fours. Exhale, around the back, look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine long, stretch the right leg back behind you. Exhale, right knee to the nose, rounding the back this time, hugging in. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long, right leg back behind you. Exhale, right knee to the right armpit, rounding the back, hugging in. Inhale, stretch the spine long, right leg back behind you. Exhale, stepping the right foot forward outside the right hand. So you might want to grab that foot and slide, wiggle, scoot the right foot forward, both hands inside the right leg. You might pause for a moment and roll up extra mat under that left knee, or wiggle the left knee around a bit to a place that feels more comfortable. And then also, if you need a little bit of height, you can grab the block here and come up onto a block to just give your hip a little bit more room. That's if your hip is bothering you some. You can give yourself some height. Wherever you are, you can maybe move the hips gently from side to side if that feels good for you. Breathe. Nice, full, deep. Coming back into center with your hips from here. Right hand to the right thigh. Gently press the right thigh to the right if that works for you. Stretching the spine maybe a bit to the left. Breathe. And keep pressing the right thigh to the right. Lower the right hand down and lengthen the spine here. You might walk your hands a bit out in front of the shoulders. You might press the hips up, back away from you a bit here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then as you feel ready, you can walk your hands back over to the right a little bit. Slide, wiggle, scoot, step that foot back. Okay. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, round the back, look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Left leg back behind you. Exhale, left knee to the nose, rounding the back, hugging in. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Left leg back behind you. Exhale, left knee to the left armpit, rounding the back, hugging in. Inhale, stretch the spine long, stretch the left leg back behind you. Exhale the left foot forward outside the left hand. Maybe grabbing that foot and sliding, wiggle, scooting that foot forward. Maybe pausing and rolling up extra mat underneath your right knee. Hands inside the leg, again, maybe grabbing a block and being up on a block here. And then you can move your hips from side to side wherever you're at. Nice, full, deep breaths. Okay, coming back into center with your hips here. And again, hands on the ground, or you can use a block and walk the block, or actually before this, you bring your left hand to the left thigh. Press the left thigh a little bit to the left. Right hand could be on the block here. Breathe. And then again, you can either take your hands off the block, thigh pressing to the left, walk your hands to the right a bit, or you can have hands on the block here and move the block over to the right. Breathing wherever you're at. If your hands are on the ground, you might walk them a little bit in front of the shoulders and press the hips up, back away from you. Nice, full, deep breaths. Or up, back away from your hands. Okay. As you're ready, walk your hands back over to the left if you walk them to the right, and maybe slide, wiggle, scoot, step that left foot back. Child's pose. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Okay. Have a strap someplace you can grab it on your belly. Either come to your belly here or do that plank on your knees again with the block, maybe across the shoulder blades again. So again, knees a little bit back behind your hips if you're doing this. Shoulders maybe a little bit forward past the wrist. Nice long spine. And just see what it feels like to bend your elbows and slowly with control try to keep the spine nice and long. Ease your way down to your belly. Once you're down, again, you might have to kind of roll for the block to come off. Okay, lining up your feet here. Stretching long to the legs, knees facing the ground. Maybe grab the strap behind your back with your palms facing down, thumbs out. I like to pause for a moment here as I'm rooting down through my hips and take the strap to the top of my hips and with my hands press the tailbone towards my toes here. So I like to really root my hips. I tend to overarch my back, so that feels really good for me. Once I have done that, staying active through the hips, stretching long through the legs, I will open my hands wide enough apart to give my shoulders the space they need, and then lifting up through the shoulders and the chest here. Feel free to stay here, pulling the strap apart with your hands, or if you want to, knees and toes facing the ground, you can lift your feet up a little bit here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. Shalabhasana, another variation. And then exhale all the way back down. Rest your head on the hands. Keep the strap where it is for a moment. We're going to use it again. Gently rock your hips a bit from side to side. Okay, come back into center with your hips from here. Press down through the hips, stretch long through the legs. Grab the strap. Give yourself enough strap. And then as you're ready, lift up again here. Breathe, nice full deep breath. This time keep your feet on the ground. And in fact, we're gonna lower the chest back towards the ground. And if it works for you, you're gonna inhale with your hips staying still. Turn your chest to the left. Exhale, inhale back to center. Exhale, turn your chest to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale, turn your chest to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale the chest to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale the chest to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale the chest to the right. Inhale to center. If you want to lift up again here, you can. If you want to lift your feet up and center, you can. Breathe. Nice full deep breath. And then exhale all the way back down. Rest your head on the hands. Gently rock your hips a bit from side to side here.
and come back to center here. We'll do one more variation of this. So just knowing that, breathe, giving yourself a moment, relaxing. This time, open your knees outer hip distance width apart, but still spin your kneecaps so they face the ground. Grab the strap. As you feel ready, lift up to the shoulders and the chest here. Breathing, press down strongly through your hips. If it works for you, keep your hips pressing down strongly. Exhale and bend both knees. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend both knees. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend both knees. Hold here. Now if your feet are like mine, I've worked to get my feet to be able to touch the strap. This took some time. But if they are close in, you can take the strap around the other side and then kick your feet out into the strap, breathing wherever you're at. Okay, exhale, go ahead and release. Rest the head on the hands. Gently rock your hips a little side to side. Come back into center from here and ease your way back into a child's pose. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. As you're ready, transitioning to sitting with the legs straight forward out in front of you, knees and toes pointing up to the sky. However that transition works for you. Grab your strap, loop the strap around the balls of your feet here, and pulling back on the strap and sitting up nice and tall. So again, try and get your hips to not be tucked under. So if your hips are tucked under, bend your knees a little bit, sit on some height, do what works for you. Then from here, once your hips are not tucked under, open your elbows a little bit towards the side and feel the shoulder blades, the bottoms of the shoulder blades moving toward each other on the back, and your shoulders moving a little bit away from your ears. You're not pulling the shoulders down away from your ears full force, but you're gently moving the shoulders a little bit away from the ears. And then see if you can use that bottom part of your shoulders to start to bring your chest forward, which means you might have to open your elbows and your hands wider to the side and keep the shoulders moving on the back away from your ears a little bit. Breathe, nice full deep breath. In other words, giving your neck room. So you're not letting the shoulders scrunch up towards the ears. Your elbows being bent lets you control the shoulders a little bit and move the shoulders away from the ears, and so your neck still has some room. Okay. And then as you feel ready, go ahead and come back up. You want to take the strap with you or have the strap someplace so you could grab it easy as we make our way to our backs. And again, you can just come to your back, however feels like a good way for you. Once you're on your back, you can hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, rocking here. And then either holding on or letting go, you can circle around a bit. And then come back into center here. With that strap, take the strap to the front of the shins. In fact, slide it down to your ankles here. Loop your hands around the strap a few times. Although have it loose at first because you might need to adjust. And then give yourself enough strap that you can move your shoulders up towards the ears and wiggle them underneath you and press them down, and that you can untuck your hips and lower the feet to the ground. So your feet are close enough in that you feel comfortable, but far enough away that you can do all of this. So again, a little bit of an arch here. And then if it works for you, coming into a bigger arch of the back. So even wiggling the shoulders underneath you more, lifting the spine in between the shoulders up as you press down through the shoulders in the back of the head, and letting the weight shift down towards your tailbone. So you can play around with giving yourself more or less strap, but once things feel pretty secure, holding the strap fairly tightly, okay? And you also in this position are not trying to let the shoulders slide away from your ears. You're actually moving the shoulders up towards the ears a bit because the pulling of the strap might pull your shoulders away from your ears. If it works for you, press down to your feet. Inhale, stretch your knees forward and float the hips up. Exhale and lowering back down. Inhale, stretch your knees forward and float the hips up. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, stretch your knees forward, float the hips up. Hold the hips lifted. And here, maybe use a strap to wiggle the shoulders underneath you a little bit more. Maybe lift the spine in between the shoulders up, head nice and grounded. And as you stretch your hips and your knees forward, stretch your chest back towards your chin. So your chin is not coming towards your chest. Just to be clear about that, your chest is moving towards your chin because your chest is stretching in the opposite direction of your knees and hips, which are stretching towards the front of your room or the front of the mat or towards your toes, however you want to think about that. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then as you're ready, you can lower the hips all the way down. You can relax the spine in between the shoulders. You can put the strap over to the side. Wiggle the feet out a little bit. And as you let the shoulders come off the back, maybe hands to the thighs, press the thighs away from you, gently swaying the hips a little side to side. Breathe. Nice full deep breath. I should have told you to take the block with you too, because I like to twist with a block. Your mileage may vary about this. What I mean by I like to twist with a block is I like to take the block, the narrow end of the block between my upper and inner thighs. This helps to stabilize the muscles around the sacroiliac joint and the muscles around the hips. So if this is helpful for you, narrow into the block between upper and inner thighs. Feet can be lifted up a little bit here. Notice if your hips are tucking under, maybe untuck your hips, shifting the weight a little bit lower, but your lower is hugging in strongly. You can also leave out the block and have your feet on the ground. I don't like the block if my feet are on the ground, by the way, so you might notice if your feet are on the ground, the block does not feel good. Your arms can be in an airplane position, a T position, a W, or a cactus. Really any position that you could connect down through the shoulders and the back of the head. But again, you're at this point not lifting the spine in between the shoulders up. That is relaxing down. Connecting down through the shoulders and the back of the head. Exhale the knees maybe to the right side. Inhale up to center. Exhale the knees to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right, holding your knees on the right side. Left shoulder relaxing towards the ground. Maybe turning your gaze and looking over that shoulder. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then as you feel ready, you can inhale, come to center. Exhale, knees over to the left side. Right shoulder maybe pressing down and maybe turning your gaze and looking over that shoulder. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths wherever you're at. And only turn your head if that feels good for your neck and your head. Otherwise, keep your head up toward the sky. And again, just feel the shoulders and the back of the head nice and anchored. Okay, as you're ready, unwind into center. You can take the block out from between the legs if you're using it. Put it over to the side. Hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking. Feel free to stay in a ball or open your knees wider apart. Lean through the spine a little bit. Maybe start to pull the knees down towards the ground on either side. You still rocking. Maybe flip the feet up to the sky. Maybe holding onto the back of the knees, the lower legs, or your feet as you rock. Breathe. Eventually unwinding into center and full body stretch. Stretch the arms up above the head, legs along the ground. Lengthen your tailbone toward your feet, stretching everything out. And then as you're ready, final relaxation. If Shavasana feels good for you, you can come into Shavasana with the arms along the sides in an airplane position, legs opening wider apart than the hips, back of your hips lengthening towards your feet, and let yourself relax here. If this position is not comfortable for you, any position that the spine is neutral and feels supported is fine. So for instance, if your low back bothers you with the legs straight, feel free to bend the knees. Feel free to have the knees together and the feet apart in a Supta Virasana variation. Feel free to have feet together and knees apart in a Supta Baddha Konasana variation. Feel free to come onto your side if that's more comfortable for you, maybe with a hand or two underneath your head. Again, any position the spine is relatively neutral and supported that you can relax into is great. I am going to come up to sitting, which is also another option. If you're super comfortable sitting and sitting is relaxing for you, you can do that. But again, any position that works for you, that the spine feels neutral, that you feel supported, that you can relax in. Once you find the position that works for your body in this moment for today, let your eyes be soft or closed. Feel the breath flowing through you and feel the support of the earth underneath you. And with every exhale, let yourself release a little bit more. Let yourself let go a bit more. Let your bones feel heavy. Let your skin be soft. And whenever you're as relaxed as you're going to get, let go of the conscious awareness of your breath and just let yourself be here. whatever that might mean for you in this moment. Come back to your breath. Feel the breath flowing through you. Come into small movements, wiggling fingers and toes, circling ankles and wrists, stretching arms and legs. As you feel ready, you can bend your knees and ease your way over onto your side, perhaps pausing on your side, letting the chest turn towards the ground. But wherever you are, feel the breath flowing through you, feel the support of the earth underneath you, and ease your way into a comfortable sitting position, keeping that current of the breath moving through you. And once you're in sitting, again, untuck your hips and sit up nice and tall. So from here, if like me, sitting on something feels better, go ahead, sit on something. Take a moment here, and again, shoulders a little bit on the back, chest lifting up a little bit. Take the one hand to your throat for a moment here. I know that could be weird, so if that doesn't feel so great for you, don't do it. But just feel the throat settling back a little bit. Feel the back of your head right behind the mouth settling back a little bit here. Okay, you all stay there. I'm gonna hit this bowl again here. So I'm gonna get this bowl going. And in a moment, we're gonna do some really full, big Om. So go ahead, take the hand off your throat, but just keep the awareness of your throat with the hand off the throat. Okay, hands can come together. Inhale down into the belly. Two more if you have it in you. One more. Inhale deeply. Thank you so much for coming. Have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoy.